जय भीम. मी हंसिनी. सम्यक न्यूज लाईव्हच्या विशेष बातमीपत्रात आपलं स्वागत आहे. ठळक बातम्या पुढील प्रमाणे.
फिनिक्स मल्टीस्पेशालिटी हॉस्पिटल अँड क्रिटिकल केअर सेंटर, शिवाजीनगर, नांदेड.
आइडियल इंस्टीट्यूट ऑफ बायोलॉजी, नांदेड़ आणि लातूर, लीडर इन बायोलॉजी.
अभी आप तमिलनाडु के इस चेन्नई क्षेत्र में है, जहां पर आज बौद्ध धर्म का बहुत बड़ा परिषद यहाँ होने वाला है. यहाँ पे ये जो कॉन्फ्रेंस होने जा रही है कि जहाँ पर तकरीबन 4 स्टेट से यहाँ पर कुछ लोग आए हुए हैं और वो अभी यहाँ पर बौद्ध धर्म के ऊपर यहाँ पे लोगों को बताएंगे और जो जिस तरह से बौद्ध धर्म का प्रचार करना चाहते हैं, प्रसार करना चाहते हैं, इसकी बात करेंगे. यहाँ पर जो भी भिक्खु संघ है, भिक्खु संघ यहाँ पर स्टेज पर उपस्थित हुआ है. अभी थोड़ी ही देर में यहाँ का प्रोग्राम जो है चालू होने वाला है. अभी यहाँ पर जो चेन्नई के लोग हैं, जो बुद्धिस्ट लोग हैं, यहाँ पर आ चुके हैं. मेरे हिसाब से इस चेन्नई में जो प्रोग्राम होने जा रहा है, पहली बार होने जा रहा है कि जहाँ पर बुद्धिस्ट प्रोग्राम से लोगों को बताया जा रहा है कि बुद्धिस्ट क्या है, बुद्ध क्या है. आप देख सकते हो कि यहाँ पर की जो परिस्थिति है अभी, और इसमें एक बड़ी बात ऐसी है कि सम्यक न्यूज़ लाइव को भी यहाँ पर नवाजा जाने वाला है.
तत्यंपि संघं शरणं गच्छामि पानातिपाता वेरमणि सिक्खापदं.
Grateful today to be a part of this event in Chennai that South Indian Buddhist Federation has organized, and I want to thank Pantaji, Buddha Maure, as well as my friend Lakshmi Bhavge for this wonderful opportunity. Whenever I come to Tamil Nadu, it fills me with pride because I've grown up reading about the culture of resistance, and especially the 20th century, when Tamil Nadu led the fight against the onslaught of Hindi, English, and Sanskrit imposition. And growing up, and to this day, that pro-vernacular movement, I understand, directly and indirectly, has strengthened Kannada movements in Karnataka, where I am from, as well as pro-people linguistic diversity movements across Dravida Nadu and throughout India. So I'm speaking to you in English, I apologize. Perhaps one day I'll be able to communicate in Tamil as well. Today I'd like to talk about the Buddhism that Baba Sahib Ambedkar defined. See friends, the essence of what I believe is Buddhism and what I value is the ideas of equality, social justice, and scientific temperament. And remember that these same values of equality, social justice, and scientific temperament are existent in our Constitution, in the preamble of our Constitution. So we as Indians who believe in the Buddha and follow Buddhism's values have a special responsibility. We must be at the forefront of building our land, our state, and our nation. And we, by living our ethics and principles, must show the world and our neighbors what true Desha Bhakti and patriotism is, especially in this contentious time where democratic voices are being silenced. Remember friends, today if somebody is born into one specific caste or religion, he or she is being targeted for his or her life. When somebody is born into a specific gender, there are risks of physical violence. We need an answer to these, and that answer can be found in the ideological teachings of Buddha and Ambedkar. Why I feel the Buddhism that Baba Sahib defined is so important is because of the parallels also between their lives. Buddha, 2,500 years ago, searched for a panacea, an answer to the human and social ills. In the 20th century, Baba Sahib Ambedkar tried to answer for present-day injustice. Siddhartha the prince went from Kapilavastu, Nepal to Bodh Gaya, Bihar in search of enlightenment. Similarly, Baba Sahib Ambedkar left India, went to London, went to New York City in search of education. Both Baba Sahib and Buddha challenged the Vedic authority and both fought for the equality of all castes, all classes, and most importantly, the women of their time. And also, both, remember, believe that the answers didn't lie in a future life or in a past life, but the answers lie here and now, in today and in this life. So essentially, both values are the same, but we call it different names. And for Buddha, many people call it Hinayana or Theravada, Mahayana or Vajrayana. And for Baba Sahib Ambedkar, we call it Navayana. And that Navayana, before talking about that, it's important to understand the how and why Baba Sahib Ambedkar embraced Buddhism. Remember, even though Baba Sahib Ambedkar was not a religious person, he was very religious conscious. He himself had experienced subjugation, and he read and he understood the suffering and struggles that Dalits faced because of the religion. He knew that people needed a religion, and it was an integral part of their life, so they needed answers, and he realized that the answers must come from a religious paradigm. So he didn't jump immediately into any religion he could find. He searched, and it was a 50-year-long search. It was half a century before he decided upon Buddhism. And remember that just as we cannot distinguish or separate the freedom movement and the birth of India as a nation from Baba Sahib Ambedkar's life and his journey, similarly, we cannot separate the social, the religious, and the political trajectories of Baba Sahib Ambedkar's journey, because they're all interconnected, and we must not forget that. Friends, Ambedkar searched for liberty and justice and equality in all the Indian religions, whether that be Islam, Christianity, Jainism, Sikhism, and Buddhism. And I delved into why he questioned these religions, and it's important for us to know why he rejected those religions. For Islam, just as there were many people from Hindu religion who didn't want Baba Sahib Ambedkar to leave Hindu Dharma, there were many people in Islam that said, come, embrace Islam. In fact, even the Nizam of Hyderabad, who at that time was considered the richest man in the world, offers Baba Sahib Ambedkar 5 crore rupees. This is 100 years ago. 100 plus 5 crore rupees to join Islam, and that too to have everyone convert to Islam. That would be 5,000, 50,000 crore today. But Ambedkar never gave up his values and his ethics for money. Ambedkar also didn't believe at that time that the Muslims of India were as progressive as the Muslims of Turkey. And he found fault with social ills such as polygamy and parda. And he couldn't accept that women were not treated as equal in his eyes. So he didn't accept Islam. But Christianity, he looked into it. But at that time, the British were very strong, and he was worried that if strong numbers of Dalits became Christians, it would strengthen the British Raj in India. So you must understand that Ambedkar was a great Deshabhakt who managed to balance Dalit liberation with national unity, and we cannot forget that. And although Ambedkar had great belief in Jesus Christ, he also didn't feel that in the churches or those who had converted to Christianity, the Dalits were being treated as well as he had preferred. So he said, no, we don't want Christianity. Jainism never offered Baba Sahib Ambedkar to join, but Jainism was too extreme for Ambedkar, and he didn't feel it was right for his people. But he was captivated by Sikhism. At Sikhism in 1936, the Sikh mission in Amritsar, the Sikh leaders sent Ambedkar a letter. They said, join our religion. Ours is a monotheistic religion. Ours is a religion that believes in equality and the prerequisites and the guidelines that you say. So Ambedkar sends his son and his nephew, and they go, and 13 of his followers, Ambedkar's followers, go to Amritsar to study Sikhism. And without telling Ambedkar, all 13 followers join Sikhism, and this hurts Ambedkar. But that's not the reason why Ambedkar rejects Sikhism. Why Ambedkar rejects Sikhism is because he has a feeling that if many Dalits join Sikhism, the politics will relegate them to merely Punjab, and they won't have political influence across the nation. So you must understand that the conversion was not just a social movement, it was not just an economic movement, but a political movement as well. And then, 1937, Ambedkar deeply starts studying Buddhism. He understands the connection Buddhism has to untouchability. He studies how 1,500 years ago Vedic forces tried to impose this caste system and make all the Mulnivasi Shudras. And those Buddhists who said, no, I will not join that, I will not be a Shudra, I will not be that, were then thrown out of the Chaturvarna and made to be untouchables. So Ambedkar understood that Buddhism was a historic religion for Dalits and a natural religion. And the elements of understanding compassion and equality was something Ambedkar appreciated. And also something very important is the flexibility within Buddhism. It's something that is flexible for the time and the place, and Buddha's values can be accepted according to context sensitivity, and that's something Ambedkar very much admired. So this intrinsic democratic nature of Buddhism is something that goes hand in hand with the idea of India, and that is why Baba Sahib Ambedkar had to and wanted to accept Buddhism. But even if he accepted Buddhism, he didn't accept Hinayana Theravada and Mahayana because he didn't believe in the Four Noble Truths that Theravada says. He didn't believe that Buddha was a god like Mahayana said. So he creates his own idea of Buddhism with 22 separate vows. And these vows talk about challenging the inherent inequality in Vedic thought and provide a new path which Baba Sahib Ambedkar himself calls Neo-Buddhism. And remember, the scripture of this Neo-Buddhism, this Navayana, is Buddha and his Dhamma. In 1956, Baba Sahib Ambedkar has a mass conversion and 4 lakh Dalits join him in converting. And the especially significant thing about that conversion was that Ambedkar did not wait for religious personnel to come and initiate the process. Ambedkar initiated it himself, which shows that there's no need for intermediaries, but any individual has the power to initiate it himself. And after that, 52 days later, Baba Sahib Ambedkar dies. But what we may see is a meteoric rise in Buddhism. In 56, there are 2 lakh Buddhists in India and the subcontinent. By 61, 5 years later, there are 33 lakh Buddhists. What I feel so proud today is that tradition of Navayana, that feelings of equality, justice, and scientific temperament are being continued today here in South Indian Buddhist Federation. And I'm glad to be a part of this in a small way and bring the dreams of Ambedkar and the dreams of equality into a reality with everybody here. And before I go, I know we come from different linguistic backgrounds, different castes, religions, different places. But we need an ideology that unites us. And I searched for decades to look for that ideology. And I asked experts and scholars and thinkers and academics, and I did my own research. And today I say with pride that that ideology that we must believe in is an ideology of Buddha, Basava, Ambedkar, Periyar, and Phule. And that is something that I say with pride. And finally I will close that what Baba Sahib Ambedkar says. He says that the history of India is nothing but a conflict between Buddhism and Brahmanism. This is very important to understand today because that conflict in many ways is ongoing. And we must understand which side to support and which side to fight. And that is something we must not forget. And saying that, I want to thank everybody once again. Jai Bhim, Jai Buddha.
पाहत रहा सम्यक न्यूज लाईव्ह. बातमी पाहण्यासाठी यूट्यूबवर सबस्क्राईब करा.